Hey everybody, and welcome back to more Ghosts of Miami. Let's resume this case with the disappearance of Janet. I'm usually a heavy sleeper, but there's something strange about the air this morning. The wind is blowing trouble in. Nothing for it, I guess. At least I'm up early enough to make a pot of coffee. Maybe if I'm awake for it, the bad news won't catch me by surprise. My shoulders tense when the phone rings. Hello, Detective Harris. Consuelo. It's funny, I'm usually so happy to hear from you. How's the case going from your end, Sheriff? You got bad news. I have to phrase this very carefully, Cello. I pray your father will forgive me for what I'm doing. That's, dramatic. Been a long day, just tell me what's going on. This is what we call privileged information? The chief is tired of the bad press. He wants to increase the patrols in Coral Gables. He thinks a dozen patrol cars crawling a 10-block radius will make the suburbanites feel safe in their beds. They might forget there's a killer in their neighborhood, kidnapping disadvantaged girls because he's sure no one will miss them. You can't do that. If he sees patrol cars and feels cornered, he might panic and kill Janet. Besides, he's not hunting. He's already got his next victim. Doesn't the chief know that? You have to stop it. Can't, Cello. I bought you 1 day. That's all I could get. The doll collector is a political nightmare. The mayor is getting hundreds of calls a day asking why we haven't made an arrest yet. Not even close to being done yet. What can I do in a day? The new kid in the crime lab, a statistical analyst from Stanford. She bet the precinct $100 that she can figure out which block the guy lives on. She cross-referenced a ton of information from the DMV, the hotline calls, and the FBI profile. If she's right, you might be able to use that information to stake this guy out. You didn't hear it from me? Did it say me? Okay. You have today and tonight to find your man. Tomorrow, the Dade County PD is going door to door through the whole neighborhood. Sorry, Cello. Well, at least I have a day. Are you getting stakeout snacks, or shall I? I'm afraid I can't join you for this one, Deputy. I'll be in an all-night meeting, planning for the big sweep tomorrow. Do me a favor, though. Call a friend for backup. Are you worried for me, Detective? Man is a killer. You don't need to remind me of that. Apparently I do, because you're not taking me seriously, Consuelo. You need to take a friend. If you find anything at all, you get to a payphone and you call me. Please don't do anything dramatic. Gotta go to a payphone because it's the 80s, no cell phones. Or at least, no cell phones in wide use. Please don't do anything dramatic. When I see your father in heaven, I don't want to tell him that I put his little girl in harm's way. There's no proof Papa is in heaven, Detective Harris. Fine. But when Vicente comes back and hears I let you search for the doll collector on your own, he'll send me there. Promise me you'll take a buddy to watch your back. I promise. Promise me you won't go charging into danger. Not gonna promise that. I promise that too. She promised. That's my girl. Do you have any last tips? Anything I should look out for in particular? Thought we hired you for your fresh eyes, Cello. Give me a break. My first stakeout. Coral Gables is a nice upper middle class community. If the doll collector lives there, he's been blending in for years. But he'd still need privacy. We'll have the kind of house that neighbors won't complain about, but they also won't drop in for a chat. I'll be at Central all night. Call the switchboard if you need anything, or if you need any more tips from a veteran cop. Ooh, a veteran cop. Do you know any? Smart ass. Be safe tonight, Cello. Good hunting, Detective. Wow. I don't think we've heard this song in the soundtrack yet. Maybe we have. Sounds like some very early like electronica plus like a little bit of like hip hop built in. But I seem to notice a pattern that there's like 2 days to solve the thing. Like the first case was 2 days, the last one was 2 days, this one is going to be 2 days. Adrenaline pumps through me and my skin tingles all the way to my fingertips. I can feel the thump of my pulse. For a moment, I lose focus on Melanie and Janet, and all I can think about is confronting the man who took them. I have one chance, tonight, to find Janet Lessig before the cops descend on the doll collector. I need to be ready. Evidence, backup. Oh, and I better ask Mickey if I can borrow his car, too. A little early to call, but I can leave a message on someone's machine. Who should I bring on the stakeout? Well, apparently all we can bring is Tala, so, Hola, it's Cello. You're probably not awake yet, but could you meet me in Coral Gables tonight? I need a partner for a stakeout, and... That's a really bad explanation. Do you want to hang out for a few hours in my brother's car while eating snacks? And maybe help me find the doll collector? Oh, wait, that's not really a good... you sent your message. 30 seconds is not enough time to invite someone on a stakeout to catch a serial killer. Paula will show up, I'm sure of it. In the meantime, I've got a little more time to get to the evidence I need. I need to find Janet before a police raid spooks her kidnapper. I can see the sun peeking through the blinds of my office. Daytime. Make it count, Cello. Well, we need to go to the police station to meet with a criminal profiler to get their information. The profiler from the FBI sticks out like a sore thumb. They've set her up at a tiny patrol desk with only a phone and a small fortress of evidence boxes. Her handwritten notes have filled a whole legal pad. She's studious and diligently ignoring the chatter around her. Hello there. I'm Cello Martinez. We have a meeting? Yes, the private investigator. You're not an ex-cop? Not old or tired enough? Why did you choose this profession? My dad went missing. Oh, my father went missing when I was young. It's kind of a passion of mine. So it's a personal matter for you. But you choose to work independently rather than become a cop. I'm not very good at written exams. Very well. Is that a problem? Detective Harris suggested I check in with you. I don't want to step on any toes. Quite the contrary, Miss Martinez. It's been long 2 days, and I'm anxious to return to my desk at Quantico. Hopefully this trip has not given my boys enough time to destroy my brand new carpet. Has it already been 2 days? Have I been wrong? Have I been wrong about this one? Have we already went through 2 full days of research? My mother-in-law has undoubtedly turned them into feral wolves, her children, surviving solely on candy and cartoons. Every cop in the precinct is under the impression that I am here to, bust everyone's balls. So I'm relieved you're not an ex-cop, or you're not a cop, ex or otherwise. Special Agent Amrita Singh. Cops around here can be a little, territorial. I'm glad you're handling them. Miss Martinez, my flight home leaves Fort Lauderdale in 3 hours. I will answer any questions you have as long as you ask them directly. No small talk, please. Oh, sure. So I think Detective Harris said there were some out-of-state victims. That's why you're here, right? That is correct. The South Carolina victim was wearing a taffeta dress. We believe it was hand-tailored. Since then, his stitch work has improved. His methods have become more brutal. Okay, so he's dressing them up. So that's why this is the doll collector. Because he's dressing them up, he's putting makeup on them. I gotcha. Melanie Schrader's body brought our attention to South Florida. The cluster of victims here suggests that our serial killer uses Dade County as his hunting ground. The data backs up our theory. One of the out-of-state victims has since been identified as a resident of Coconut Grove. The women's were mutilated? Tell me more about the victim. A local killer. What do you know about him? Let's find out. What do we know about him? The doll collector certainly has roots here, but he may have been more careful when he first started killing. In the South Carolina case, forensic evidence suggested a crime of opportunity, leading us to believe that the killer traveled often, possibly for this job. More victims in Georgia, however, muddied the waters. The victims' bodies were more mutilated, but also staged more elaborately. The timeline is strange. Until you account for the South Florida murders, we suspect he was crossing state lines to dump the bodies with his trademark styling, dress, hair, makeup. But here, we had Melanie Schrader. Suddenly, 2 known victims had lived in Dade County. I traveled here because the police had identified some potential survivors. Perhaps the killer was practicing his violence on local women. Didn't someone like this have a police escort? Or police record, excuse me. And why did he stop dumping bodies out of state? Been very careful about his identity to date, and we hadn't connected all these victims until now, but his callous disregard for the feelings of others suggests a history of violence. Most killers like this have troubled childhoods, torturing animals or even other children. Alright, so we know some information about him. FBI director thinks the doll collector may have a troubled past, but I don't know how that will help me. How does a person get like that, and how does it escalate to killing women? Is your question hypothetical? Oh, no? Very well. Imagine the world without having an ounce of empathy. How do you navigate conversation? What relationships seem strange or broken? We smile and understand its meaning, insincere or loving or uncomfortable. But a person without emotional context must guess based on others' reactions. Are you able to distinguish between a homeless man, an abandoned dog, or a discarded newspaper? Or do they all just appear to be street refuse? I can distinguish between those things, thank you. If we, the emotionally able, shudder and treat the man as an obstacle, how should someone emotionless perceive him? You disagree? No, but, I mean, I see your point, but what about self-recognition, though? Wouldn't the killer know that he's not like other people? Having a hard time putting myself in his head, I guess. Not an easy exercise to empathize with a murderer, Mrs. Martinez, or Miss Martinez. Nor should it be. Even I'm speculating. We cannot see inside his head, but we can see where he expends efforts. He is transfixed by beautiful women. He spends hours designing an outfit for them, making them up. In his head, is he making improvements? Does the doll collector also want to be improved? Chill goes up my spine. Do you have anything else? Unfortunately, that's all we've got. We've searched for estheticians with records of violence, fashion models and designers. That's a hard word. What fashion models and designers, what have you? We thought it might be fruitful to investigate photographers, but so many of them work freelance. This man has eluded police departments across 6 separate counties, and as much as I hate to admit it, mystified even me. Why do you think he's acting closer to home now all of a sudden? There's a tendency to think of serial killers as sinister, calculating, intelligent, men who understand and manipulate the clockwork of others. Do not buy into this stereotype. Killers are still men, and men are given to obsession and impulse. South Carolina police discovered his first victim in 1977. He didn't kill again until 1981, but even those could have been isolated incidents. The data from Florida shows a different story. Multiple victims, including some survivors. He more eager, less careful. If he already has another victim in his sights, then perhaps he couldn't drive across state lines or didn't want to waste the time. Yeah, maybe he has an illness, disability or some kind, but it's not an illness or a disability that would prevent him from overpowering someone, but then again, he is using a drug to knock them out, so. Or he was injured in an attack and can no longer make the drive. There you go, disability. Maybe he was just lazy and figured, hey, Miami Central Morgue sees 600 murder victims a year. What's one more? Hey, one of those victims was my friend. I'm not sure if I like your gallows humor. Hey, one of those victims was my friend, by the way. Do you not feel there's a conflict of interest investigating the murder of your own friend? I guess this is why I wouldn't make a good cop. Guess we shouldn't have said that, huh? There's no such thing as a cold case when your friend's involved. Emerita clasps my shoulder in a firm hand and looks right into my eyes. Miss Martinez, if no one has told you already that your efforts are appreciated, rest assured that they are. It is a difficult line to walk, but you are correct. These young women deserve to be thought of as more than victims. But if you're going to become emotionally invested, just use your energy wisely, Cello. We didn't ever call her Cello, right? Or we didn't say to her that our name was Cello. Did we ever say that? I don't remember how we introduced ourselves. Maybe we did. This case may be worth your heart and soul, but not every case will be. Trust me. I'll keep that in mind. Thanks for your time, Special Agent Singh. She's a badass FBI agent who profiled the doll collector. She owes Detective Harris a favor. That lady was helpful, but very intense. Did I just get a "you'll understand when you're older" speech? Maybe it's the grim mood at the police station. Time to move on before it gets to me. Well, I guess we go to the cannery. It was the only place left. The cannery looks strangely normal during the day. Big Vanessa said they'd be closed to mourn Melanie and organize a vigil for Janet. When I walk in, a few of the regular employees are milling about, doing their prep tasks, filling salt shakers, folding napkins, normal stuff. They exchange wary glances as I walk past them towards Big Vanessa's office. The hush is oppressive and hard to ignore. I'm relieved when the boss lady herself comes out to meet me. Hello, Big Vanessa. It's good to see you again. Talk to me like I'm such a classy lady, Jello. Wow, what was that accent? I love it. Wow, what accent am I giving her? I just could not get back into her character. Makes me feel good, especially with all these nervous hens pecking at me. You feel it, right? The electric sadness in here. It's hard for them losing one of their own. But Big Vanessa's used to losing friends. My heart is the knotty, hard pit at the center of this peach. I'm sorry, Vanessa, but I'm glad the rest of you are still so sweet. Did you hear that, Gloria? Jello says I'm sweet. I scan the club. A few employees crack a smile. Some of them look relieved. That's how I feel too. You said you were Melanie's friends? The girl set up a little shrine by a mirror over there. Someone left flowers by Janet's dressing area last night too. I don't have the heart to tell them Prince Charming isn't here to receive them. Please say you have a lead. The police are working on it, and I am too, I promise. But I'm not going to lie about the situation. According to the cops, the killer is, accelerating his schedule. Are you saying that you need to stop flirting with an old bag and get to work finding our handsome prince? I don't see any old bags here, ma'am. But otherwise, you're right. After I find Prince Charming, we'll have all the time in the world to socialize. If my kids were as polite as you, Jello. We're having a private wake for Melly tonight. I'd love to invite you, but some of the girls don't feel safe around strangers. I hope you can understand. But you have free reign of the club until around 6. I know they're eager to help, but please try not to bother the performers. One of them will start crying, and then I'll start crying, and then we'll flood all of Miami in gay tears. Try to be considerate, Big V. Thank you for giving me access to Janet's things. She presses a warm, soft kiss against my cheek, then wipes away the lipstick residue with her thumb. Imagine that, thanking me for finding one of my girls. Go on. Don't leave without saying goodbye, you hear? I won't. According to Big Vanessa's witness report, Janet left the club while everyone else was doing evening wipe downs and prep tasks. That would have been around 3 or 4 in the morning. She remembers seeing Janet during last call. It's a small window of time, but with all the hustle and bustle, no one noticed when Janet left or had any idea why. Take a breath. Janet's room is nestled at the back of the drag club. It's so small and intimate. It looks actually rather large, unless this is not her room, unless this is a shared space. Can't help but feel like I'm invading a space where I don't belong. I'm going to discover where she went. I need to learn what she's like. Is that her room specifically, and this is a shared dressing area? Where should I look first? Janet's bedroom at the makeup stations. Let's look in her bedroom. The little closet is definitely just Janet's space. Okay, there you go. Nothing too flashy about it. I guess she leaves the Prince Charming persona on stage. I looked through what the cops would call her personal effects. She has so few. There's some photos taped to the wall. Here's one where she's holding up a fish nearly as big as she is. But most of her things are stashed neatly underneath a single costume rack. Imagine Janet sitting here like so, worn out after a busy night at the club, gazing at her family's photos before she gets ready for bed. Oh, what's this? The mattress is thin enough that I can feel something lumpy underneath. A wallet? Weird. All of her stuff is here. ID, bus tickets, even some cash. Something here. Picture of a young Janet with an older man. Maybe her dad? It seems like the kind of thing someone would take everywhere. Why would Janet leave her wallet on purpose when she went out? Was it a clue? Hon? Can I offer you a cake or coffee or Coke or coffee or something? How's it going in here? No, but thanks. I'm looking through Janet's things, and it looks like she left without her wallet. You better not be snooping on her dirty little secrets. No, just regular boring wallet stuff. Why would Janet go out without taking her ID? You know, couldn't say. Janet never carried her wallet and costume, but she left long after her last stage appearance. Is her pendant here? What pendant? Little gold sword, an heirloom from her grandmother. She wore it all the time when she wasn't performing. She said it was the only thing she wore that truly suited her. Person she really is. Ah, here it is, hidden in the cash pocket of the wallet. So, whatever she was doing, she wanted to do it without anything that could possibly identify her as Janet Lessig, nor Prince Charming. I had the stage manager check our inventory, and all of his costumes are still in the racks. Janet left the canner without her ID or her heirloom necklace. Maybe she didn't want to be recognized. Can I go back and read the log there? She wore it all the time when she wasn't performing. Okay. Huh. There's a lot of kids in these photos. Do you know who they are? Her relatives. Janet is the black sheep of a big family. She was always on the phone with one cousin or another. They come to the show sometimes, all in jeans and t-shirts that just scream Midwest. Funny thing is, they always cheer her the loudest. See it when they all come to visit. It's like a giant frat party. Even your girl Vanessa gets rowdy with those Tennessee rednecks. So, I mean, Tennessee is not the Midwest, by the way. So, she has this big, supportive family, but she still sleeps on the floor in a broom closet? Acceptance and loneliness aren't mutually exclusive, my dear. It was the strangest with her father, you know. She always said he wanted a boy. Part of me thinks he only visits to see his son on stage. Sounds complicated. I'm gonna take a look at Melanie's station. It's strange looking at powdered, dusted mirror in the backstage area. Imagine Melanie running a tray full of drinks back here, checking her own reflection as she goes by. Melanie designed the tank top's outfits. She had an eye for drama and coolness. But on stage, the pressure to perform could get to her. In a way, stage fright brought us together. Did our little bit of fame make you happy? Or did you look at yourself in the mirror back here and long to be in front of an audience again? Ah, Cello. You were afraid of messing up in front of the crowds. I was afraid of the crowds themselves. That's why I spent all my time in front of mirrors, touching up my mascara, trying new glosses. I needed some quiet in between all the noise. But I still loved show business and wanted to be near it, and even when I was terrified. So you ended up here. Too anxious to waitress, but you need any money you can get. So you run drinks to the performers, and you love being near the action. Never got my own space here, but at least I could touch up, and sometimes one of the nicer queens would do my hair. Did you look in the mirror the night before you went out? Is this the last thing you saw before that man grabbed you? What did Janet think about when she went looking for you? Can't tell you that, sweetie. What do you see? According to Vanessa, the cannery's been shut down for the last 2 days as police investigate Melanie's murder. It means fewer people in the back areas. Big Vanessa, can you help me out real quick? What do you need? You've been keeping track of what's missing, right? Have you lost any inventory like costumes or accessories? Brunette wig, perhaps? Hard to keep track of clothes and costumes, actually. There's a washing machine and a dryer in the back that I let the girls use, so we usually end up with more padding and tights than we started with. But come to think of it, where's the Audrey wig? Audrey wig? You know, Audrey Hepburn, a straight brunette wig, done in an updo, cute feathered bangs. Acts based on Breakfast at Tiffany's are timeless. That wig was definitely accounted for last night. The last night we had a show, Janet might have taken it, but I don't know why he would. Even during the doubles act, Prince Charming always presented as a man. As he wanted to present as a brunette. To be bait. A wig that looks like Melanie's hair is missing. A wig that looks like Melanie's hair is missing. But the cannery is has been on lockdown since Janet disappeared. Sounds like Prince is very proactive and very protective. Would he have gone out to look for Melanie on his own? Melanie's disappearance wasn't out of the ordinary, but we usually knew where to look for her. Could be an H. Rehab, jail, or at home, afraid to face the world. Prince was fired up, though. He was so sure Melanie's disappearance was out of the ordinary, he wanted to organize a search party for her. When Auntie told us about the other missing girls, that made Prince more determined. I think he wanted to protect them. Did you tell the cops all this? Yeah, the pigs expanded their search radius. I told them all the action was up in Liberty City, but they said Miss Lessig would stick out like a sore thumb there, and no one in the neighborhood had seen her. What if he wasn't looking for Melanie? What if he was chasing her abductor? And he took a brunette wig to fit the victim profile. What if no one saw him in Liberty City because he was disguised? Make some calls, ask around, and see if anything's missing. Holler up to the front if you need me. Search around a little more, looking for evidence of Janet or Melanie that the cops might have missed. Nothing else is jumping out at me. Thank you for your help, Big Vanessa. I hope I come back to you with good news. Sorry this is such a stressful time for you. Look at me, baby. There's no such thing as a non-stressful time. I'll say goodbye to you today and add, you ought to show up under less shitty circumstances. But in my experience, circumstances only ever get more shitty, not less. Henry has seen enough tragedy for 1 year, and I'm not sure if... Shush, Jello. I'm an old lady. That means you have to indulge my sadness, and I'm entitled to scold you for yours. Chin up, miss. The world needs a constant supply of joy to keep spinning, and the most potent source is a doe-eyed optimist like you. Now go on. I hear we're on a deadline, and you promised to kneecap a bad guy for me. Over my protests and awkward apologies, Vanessa shoos me out of the cannery. Time to go, I guess. So I know from reading a little bit, some discussions on the game, didn't spoil anything, but I do know that it's a potential, and there's an achievement for taking Vanessa on the stakeout with you. But I guess because we had not already went to the cannery, we didn't have that option. Time to grab Mickey's car and head to Coral Gables. Ah, Miami, where the people are always beautiful and the traffic is always bad. I race the sunset west from the beach. By the time I make it to Coral Gables, the sky is red and purple. Tonight, I find the doll collector. Whoa, is this your car? It looks really gross. It's my brother's. They made sure the AC and the engine worked, but the wheels might fall off at any moment. Also, it's full of old bags of chicharrones. Take no responsibility for those. I'm so used to my grandma's Buick. This is cool, though. You should get your brother some bumper stickers. So, tell me the plan. Pretty sure the doll collector lives somewhere in this neighborhood. We coast around inconspicuously until we can narrow down his house, and we report it to the cops. And then what? We sit and watch as the SWAT team comes to bust this guy? Maybe they'll do a breach. That'd be cool, right? And then I drive you home. I thank you for your company, and maybe I get brave enough to kiss you on the cheek, assuming your grandma isn't watching. Our friends and families don't have to worry about us, and we go to sleep in our own beds, safe and sound. Ha! I wouldn't have come if I thought you'd sit back and watch the cops get all the credit for your hard work. Well, I don't want to let down my biggest fan. Tala only wants to talk about the case. We discuss the details. She speculates wildly about the killer and his motivations. I can't tell if she likes me, the work I do, or just the promise of independence. Her excitement is like a vibration humming through the car and through me. We pass the time pointing out the people of Coral Gables as the sun goes down, and Tala tells me stories about them. This one cares more about his lawn than his wife. That one's working some sort of scam on the post office. Tala's fiction gets more vivid as the night passes. Spies and traitors, secrets. She slips her hand into mine and grins mischievously, like we're sharing a secret to ourselves. Ooh, look at that guy. He's suspicious as heck. We're looking for someone older than that. Red Chevy. Any kind of suspicious behavior. There's still a couple crossroads I want to check. What about that one? That's a lot of trash for a single guy. You think he's single? Elementary, my dear Watson. The lights are all off, and he's driving away at 8. No married guy goes to a bar or whatever and leaves his family at home with no lights. And that was 3 bags of trash he put out on the curb. Suspicious, right? Actually, that is really suspicious. We should check it out. You dig through the trash, and I'll go run back and get a look through the window. Definitely not. You stay here. You see any trouble? Get to the corner and call the cops. Please. Tala hesitates, gnawing her lower lip thoughtfully. She stares over my shoulder at the small, one-story house where the doll collector might live. Are you scared, Cello? Should I be scared? No, you shouldn't. But yes, I am. So I need you to watch my back and stay safe. I want to worry about 1 girl detective, not 2. If you leave me here, I might do something rash. So I'm asking you not to, for my sake. We're running out of time, Tala. Gotta go before this guy comes back. Could you hand me the baseball bat in the back seat? Get back here soon. You bet. The air that sweeps in from the bay is surprisingly cool. It feels like fingers running through my hair. Could this be the place? Is this the house of a serial killer? Weird to think of it this way. After all, cocaine queen Griselda Blanco ordered hundreds of deaths before they arrested her. Lucy and I drove past Griselda's house once. They say Al Capone used to live there. A white villa with beautiful gardens. That's the kind of house a monster lives in. The doll collector is just a guy in the suburbs. I only caught sight of the Chevy when it was on the street already, but I'm pretty sure it was one of these 3 houses. Which house is his? Basement window, no lights. Chain link fence, open windows. Carport, the sound of a TV. So, we were told that it's somebody that doesn't want to invite people to come over. So the sound of a TV, it might attract people. So this guy wants privacy. Sound of a TV might cause people to come over. Chain link fence, but open windows. Open windows. I mean, that's inviting someone to look inside. Basement windows with no lights. That sounds like a dungeon. I expected to be more afraid of it, but I'm not. I grip the handle of my father's baseball bat and walk towards the house. Cash first. People try to hide secrets in their house, but they put real evidence right on the curb. 3 fresh bags. This one looks like food and stuff, but this one... it's knotted tightly. Let's take a look. Alright, also the TV might not be on because the guy was out. Like, we saw him drive away, so why would the TV still be on? Could something in here be the killers? Scented candles, half burned down. Clear plastic sheeting. Discarded film canisters. Clear plastic sheeting could be. I mean, you could wrap up a body in those. But you wouldn't use a clear sheeting for that. You'd use something that wouldn't scream, hey, there's a body in here. Scented candles, half burned down. Not feeling like this is really a candle guy. Discarded film canisters, maybe, because the detective lady, the FBI agent, told me she thought it could be a photographer. Let's go for discarded film canisters. That's interesting. What if the doll collector is a photographer? There's evidence suggesting it. I've been following the trail of someone with a sharp eye for detail. Someone who styles women to his warped ideas of perfection and rejects what he thinks are flaws. I'm on the right track. I can feel it. So curious, and that impulse moves me up the driveway and towards the house, to the front door. My finger hovers over the doorbell. If he were inside, I could push one button, and we'd be face to face. A bead of sweat runs down my spine, and I'm filled with fear. I whirl around, certain that the red Chevy is pulling into the driveway behind me. The street is still empty. It's comforting to know that I have a friend in the car, watching my back. I resist the urge to turn and look for them. Focus, Cello. Melanie was missing for 3 days, and found in a taffeta dress she didn't own. The doll collector. He needs privacy to keep them. He needs patience and a visual eye. He's redesigning women the way he wants them. His blinds are cracked, and I can just barely get a peek inside this guy's living room. No couch, no TV. In fact, his living room is entirely empty except an arch, a trellis, the kind you have in a garden or a nice wedding. Why would you have something like that indoors? I feel like I've only ever seen a setup like that this once in my life. The doll collector must be trying to create a perfect prom date, a garden party, a living dollhouse. You've only seen it once in your life. A big trellis, arch thing. I'm gonna say it's a perfect prom date. That's right. And the taffeta dress and the makeup. It fits with prom. That's right. Fairview High's prom night. We had an arch just like that where couples could take pictures. Of course, Lucy and Georgia hogged it for 20 minutes. They must have used three rolls of film. Actually, I think I've seen this exact arch before. That's right. The photo of Janet and Melanie at the cannery. Prom. An unforgettable night for some. It might explain why the other girls were dressed up as well. I check my back again. Mickey's brown sedan still there. The red Chevy still gone. I wonder if the basement opens into the house or if there's a cellar door out back. Can I see that information? Did you say there was a picture? No, I don't have that picture. No harm in checking, right? Oh, look. A cellar door, and no lock anywhere to be found. I should really go back to the car, warn my friend what I'm about to do, but I think of Janet and Melanie, and if that guy comes back, who knows what'll happen next. I tell myself that I don't have that much time, but one quick peek won't hurt. I go into the basement. Someone there? I don't know if I should answer. I can't see a thing. Thought there would be moonlight coming in through the hopper windows, but they're blacked out. Well, here goes. It's me, Consuelo Martinez. Are you okay? Oh, thank God. I'm tied to a chair in the center of the room. There are 6 steps down from the door and about 7 or 8 straight forward. That's what it sounds like, at least. He only takes off the blindfold to test makeup palettes. Get me out of here! I can hear her tugging at her restraints, but I still can't see her. I'm going to try to get to you, Janet. And then we get out of here. I find footing down the 6 steps. Looking backwards, there's almost no light coming through the entrance. What's that smell? Photo development chemicals. Please, you have to hurry. Wait. He develops the film here? This is his dark room? There's gotta be evidence everywhere down here. Yeah, the cops will have a field day unless we stay here too long and that guy comes back for me. So even if it sounds churlish, we really fucking have to leave. You're right. 7 or 8 steps, right? Any chance you know where a light switch is? We hear it at the same time. Ah, he's come home. Either he's come home, and we hear that, or we hear the honking from Tala in the car, being like, he's coming. The garage door around front. Tires crunching on loose gravel. The slam of the car door. And footsteps. I turn around to face the door. My fingers clench around Papa's baseball bat. He's coming back! I nearly scream. Something touches my cheek, but it's just a cold chain that controls... Oh, a light. What the hell? Hit him. Hit the light. Throw the bat. Why would I hit the light? I might hit him. No time to let his eyes adjust. I charge forward, rotating my shoulders. The baseball bat leads the way. I've never hit someone before. Wow. I don't think he's moving. The cops can worry about that. You don't want to wait until he comes to? Find out why he did all these awful things? I came here to find you, Janet. Let's get you home. The cops clean up the mess. Detective Harris meets me with a squadron or patrol car saying, we got him. Can we talk about this, though? Don't I have to go to jail for breaking and entering? Well, maybe not breaking, but at least entering, trespassing on his house and hitting the guy? Like, even if I had a reason to be suspicious of him, I didn't have a warrant or anything. I asked to see Janet, but she'll be questioned for hours. Detective Harris dispatches an officer to take me home. He says he's proud of me. The big bust is on the news. Mrs. Woon happily shares the updates with me. The humble home of a homicidal maniac. I don't have the heart to watch. I barely have the energy to pick up the phone. But I accept one invitation, one night later. To the cannery? Not to the well, Melanie's vigil. Thank you for coming, Cello. It means a lot to me, and to the women who worked with Melanie and Janet. We wanted to do something beautiful for Melanie and all the other folks gone before their time. How are you feeling, honey? Tired, shaky. The adrenaline hasn't quite wore off. When I learned that they got him in cuffs and everything, I nearly passed out. We're opening the bar to friends after midnight. If you can make it, please do. I'll try my best. Thanks for believing in me, Vanessa. Where's Janet? She's down on the beach a little, on the pier. Needed a break from all the warm welcome backs. Oh. She wants to talk to you, Cello. Go ahead. Got an achievement. Hey. Hey. I'm sure you're sick of everyone asking how you're feeling, but I feel like I have to ask too. I can feel everyone around me sending me their love, asking how I'm doing, but all I can hear right now is static and noise. I hope you weren't expecting anything more from me. No, I want to be here for you, that's all. Scared, Cello. It's quiet for now, but soon people will want to know what happened. Someone from the Herald called today. I just hung up. Even the people who care for me, everything's gonna come at me in a big rush, and I'm not ready. Can I ask you something? Sure. When you took me to the car, did I what? Did you go back and talk to him? The guy who took me? Did I? I don't think I would have, personally. But, maybe Cello did. That's stupid, right? I don't even know his real name. That's not stupid. None of this is your fault. You weren't responsible for any of this, much less learning the name of a monster. But as far as the doll collector goes, did you go back in the house to call the police from his phone? I could tell you what happened, but we don't have to talk about it. You know what? I could tell you what happened. I could give you some more information if you want. I figured you couldn't resist. In other circumstances, maybe I would have been curious too. I guess I still am. That's okay. What do you want to know? Will you tell me everything? If you need me to stop, just say so. Part of me thinks, what if he attacks me? What if he waited for us to leave, then ran? But as I approach the cellar door again, I can hear him sobbing quietly. He's leafing through the ruined photos like he might be able to salvage one or two. He stopped crying and he's watching me. You ruined the pictures, but that's okay. I forgive you. I don't need your forgiveness. Yes, you do. Most of the young women died for these photos. It was the last thing they ever did. How could you do that? Ah, we ruined the photos by turning the light on. And overexposed the film. I didn't kill them. Killed their memory. If only their families could have seen their final moment. Oh, their family did not want to see that. The happiest night of their lives. Looks wistful at the blank photograph in front of him. I think it was only your happiest night. No, not yet. But I got close this time. Is that why you did it? Because you wanted to relive your high school prom? Tell you, this guy did not go to prom. I mean, nothing against people who didn't go to prom. I didn't go to prom, but this guy, I'm feeling like he was stood up by all the girls. He didn't even go to prom. That's a ridiculous reason to ruin people's lives. You just can't try out real living people and discard them when you're done. I don't understand, but that's okay. Maybe you've never opened your eyes and smiled and just thought, this is what it feels to be happy. I don't get that looking at a young woman. I get that remembering her In the exact moment, the image evokes her blush, the light in her hair, the perfect way she holds her neck. With his finger, he traces the shape of a person on the empty photograph in front of him. I wish he would stop. Are you arresting me now? I want to surrender peacefully. I'm not the cops. I'm going to wait until the cops get here to make sure you don't run. They're on the way now. Will you stay with me until they arrive? I'll stay to make sure they get you. My name is Russell Pratt. Will you remember me this way? No, I won't. All I can think of is kicking your head in, imagining what that would feel like, if it would ruin my shoes. I'm wondering if I could do it now, but I've already told you we're waiting for the cops to show, so I won't. I'm going to remember this moment and how I chose not to hurt you, and I'm going to wonder if I made the right decision. I think it... No. No more. Whatever you say, doesn't matter. That's the guy. Everything, killing the girls, taking you, was part of this fantasy he'd built a whole life around. It all seemed internally consistent. It all made sense to him. But that's all he ever was. Am I awful for being disappointed? I wanted him to be a supervillain like Darkseid. In my head, he was the worst possible person, like he'd need to be the worst because he got me. He's still getting to me. So how about we just stay here a while and pretend not to think about it? Yeah. Okay. The wind blows through our hair and tosses it into thick tangles. Janet looks at my face, and when I nod, she gingerly takes my hand. Her fingers are icy cold, and sometimes her grip is painfully hard. I say nothing. Eventually, we turn around and rejoin the world. Case closed, baby. Unresolved. I don't think we can ever resolve that one. Maybe you can. Don't think you can, though. Case number 4. We got Luis Ernesto Lucho Marquez y Castillo. But I think this is a good time to end this episode because it ran 47 minutes. Wow. So, thanks for joining me. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed catching the killer. And hope to see you next time.